Alright, this is Ash from Crack Minis. Today I'm going to skip the intro just because I'm sweating like a boiled ham and no one needs to see that. So today I am going to be coming up with a new faction called the Ironbloods. Like the Steely Boys, just more vicious. For this one I'm going to be using clay, Aves Epoxy Sculpt. I have been using Spriggo in the past for like all the Steely Boys and stuff. I keep saying Steely Boys, I should probably give some like background for them. Steely Boys are like this faction I was making for Turnip 28 based off the Wickerman army. They're basically just these malformed humanoids that have bits of metal strapped to them. I am still working on them, by the way. I'm trying to work out how to refine the idea of artillery based off them as characters and how they would use it, considering as they're so anti-technology. I sort of like hit a wall with that one. But you know what? I'm open to suggestions, so if you've got any suggestions, just pop them in the comments. When I came up with the idea for this blog, I was like, should I make him another Steely Boy? And I decided not to. I decided to grow on the Steely Boy faction and just like think, well, maybe if I don't use them as a faction, maybe they're like a proto-faction that I can grow from. So I took everything that I put in for the Steely Boys, and then I come up with like 6 individual factions based off it, like war tribes that populate my world. I might as well give you the list. So I got this guy, which is the Ironbloods. They're like proper military, like conquerors. They believe their ancestors were betrayed by weakness, so they fuse metal to their body. It's like signs of strength. They use massive war beasts, like rah! They'll go like after anyone, anything that just isn't them. Bar like a couple war tribes that they'll work with every now and then, except for proper not with the Rustborn, because they're just vile monsters. Then you got like the Shroud Walkers. These are like keepers of the past. These secretive nomads who live in the ruins. These like ancient monolithic cities built millions of years ago, all dotted all over the planet. Most humans stay away from them and stuff like that, but these guys, they go looking for them. They're looking for something. What? Yet to be determined. It's sort of like, if you think about them, thinking like techno shamans. Then there's the Rustborn. Now, the Rustborn are real bad. Think of them like cybernetic zombies or cursed knights of a fallen kingdom that are just rotting in their armour. They attack anything. They're completely hostile. Like, they'll attack humans, aliens, war tribes. Doesn't matter. If they see it, it's near them, they'll attack it. Sort of like the Clankers that are made, but the Clankers will only attack human beings and maybe some war tribes if they come across them, but these guys will just attack anything. Mindless, just absolute fear incarnate. Then you got the Bloodwakers. Basically they're an apocalypse cult, and they believe their lost civilization is returning and that'll bring about the end of the world, and they worship this strange red star that sort of flashes in the sky, almost like a satellite. It's probably a satellite. They're just insane. And they keep finding ancient machinery and trying to make monsters with it. Sort of like a proper doomsday cult. I didn't put a lot of effort into them ones. Moving on to the Verdant Guard. The Rootborn. These guys go by that name as well. Basically they reject the alien metal, believing it's a curse, and they live in a secret ancient forest like of old trees, which aren't common on this planet. These trees, they rip off the bark and they use that as armour instead. They're like brutal survivalists. They're just after protecting the forests, and they kill anyone that discovers them. Even other war tribes, if they think they're a threat, they'll put them down. Like eco-terrorists, like druids mixed with guerrilla warriors. And then finally, we got the Hollow Pact. Now, this is the traitor tribe, and they'll work with humans. They don't see much point in fighting against them. They see them as being there to stay. They wear metal like the rest of them. but it's more for ornate decoration. They use like normal technology that normal people use, like regular people, human beings use. Regular people, you know what I mean? As regular as you can be on a sci-fi universe. They live in the settlements, and they coexist with humanity. And the other war tribes hate them, especially the Ironbloods, because that's not what they're about. They're like sort of like Romanized barbarians, caught between two worlds. And that's all like the sub-faction was within the main faction, which is the War Tribe, and the Steely Boys, they're like the baby versions of all them. So you start off as a Steely Boy and you become one of those 6 as you evolve, or grow, or age. I haven't worked out how their alienness works. I'm not a scientist, damn it. Okay, so that's enough of a lore dump, I guess. Really just hunk it down and squeeze that out, didn't I? Anyway, oh god. Yeah, let's just probably talk about. Just give me a second. Okay, I've had my break. Let's just go straight into crafting. Alright. So obviously I sculpted the main things on the screen. Hopefully you were paying attention. If not, that's okay. I was talking a lot. I sculpted out the main form. With these, I tend to keep it as simple as possible. You just want the basic shapes, like a humanoid shape, arms, legs, head, body, you know, done. Sorted. Now I'm just going to wrap some chains around everything while it's still partially soft, just so it indents, and then I can lay armour over the top of that. It just makes it look a bit better, you know, makes them look like they've grown and the chains haven't moved and just started to press into the skin. Okay, so now it's time to start putting armour on. Now for this one, because the Steely Boys have like this like haphazard way of putting armour on, it just literally just covers all of them, and I wanted these to be like the next evolution of that. I decided to strip back the amount that I was using, concentrate it on the places where I thought it would need to be, like the shoulders, around the midsection, covering the wrists and the legs, keep more exposed skin, just because obviously these are like elite warriors, they're not going to get hit as much. I wanted to give them more of a gladiator type vibe as well, so that sparseness of armour really helped with that overall feel that I was going for with them. For the base layer of armour, I stuck down corrugated tin cans. So I used one of those paint tube squeezers. I've used them in the past. A lot of people, I've seen a lot more people using them nowadays though. Like over the last 6 to 8 months, more videos, more people using them. Right. But I haven't used it for a while. I completely forgot I had it, to be fair. It was just on a shelf. I was like, oh, I can use that. Squeezed some tin cans to shape and stuck them down. So I used those for like the very bottom layer of armour. And then started to build on top with plastics. I had a bit of a hard time sticking them to the thing at first. But I worked out that if I just wrapped some meter sealing wire around them, it'll look like barbed wire and also help it stick. For the rest of the armour, I kept it pretty simple. It's literally just parts from inside the doom boxes. So like someone said in the comments in the video, didn't organise, only moved. Doom. So, yeah. I opened up my doom boxes, grabbed some random parts out, just snipped them up to the size I wanted them to be, and started layering them on top. I also had some like plastic card lying around, so I just glued some of that together and threw that on there as well. Most of the body was pretty much done at that stage. I'd left the hands clear because I wanted to do something special with them later on. And I got started on the face. Now, the faces on these Ironbloods, Steely Boys, whatever the faction is, the tribals, I try to keep them as simple as possible. I layer bits of plastic over the top to sort of make this like jagged face. Sometimes I give them eyes, sometimes I don't. But well, I don't actually give them eyes. I give them eye holes. So they can. It's like gives them the idea that they can see, although without actually them seeing. But most of the time, I cover it all fully. I want them to feel like they don't hunt by sight, more maybe sound or smell, different senses. Make them a bit more threatening as well, especially in this one. So what I did was I give them like this twisted maw out. A lot of jagged, sharp edges, leaving a slight opening, so it's like
like just a beast's mouth, so it looked like it could basically chew your face off. Like, I build in 28mm scale, so I wanted it to look like it'd be terrifying for something that was the right size compared to this thing, because it's technically like a giant character. Originally, what I was planning on doing was like an Alice and Mol, you know, an Alice and Mol from Turnip 28, but I couldn't work out how to do the small character and have it sit on him without looking weird, unless I like put a skeleton there and put a wig on it. That would have been funny. But then, I don't need to do that. No, don't talk yourself into something cool. No, right. I'm happy with the way it looks. Alright, I tried something new on this build. New to me, anyway. So I was listening to this podcast, and they talked about an easy way of making leather straps on your miniatures that someone used for, I think it was like a competition. I can't remember the name of it. Iron Demon or something. Not Iron Demon. Was it Golden Dragon? I don't know. Someone will tell me. I'm sure if I get it wrong enough, people will correct me. Anyway, yeah. So it's basically use masking tape, you cut it into thin strips, and you layer it on top of the model. And then once you've painted it or base coated it, you can paint them brown and then add or dry brush them and then add a wash over the top, and it looks like actual leather and better than what you can sculpt as well. For me, well, you'll find out how it looks when I show it, but I found it personally to be like a really good effect. I might need to add an extra step, like putting Mod Podge onto it after I've stuck it in place, just to make sure it holds proper, because I noticed that even though masking tape is really good with paint, it's it might have been because it's cheap. The stuff I've used cheap. I've got some more expensive blue stuff that I was using from when I was 3D printing, but I might give that a try instead. But yeah, because this is quite cheap, it seemed to like ripple a bit with the paint getting sprayed onto it. So yeah, I think either I'm going to try a more expensive one, see how I get on with that, or I could possibly use some Mod Podge, you know, just to seal it in, because it has a lovely texture to it when it's painted. I might add some close-ups just of that, put them on Instagram or on my community page. This video's a bit delayed, so I should probably give an update. Actually, wait. No, I'll release it as soon as I've finished this anyway, so I'll put some pictures up on Instagram. And if anyone knows the original creator who come up with this idea, please let me know, because, you know, credit's due. Credit where credit's due. I always forget that saying. I don't know why. No. I decided I was going to give this guy a pretty necklace next, made from the bones of his conquered enemies. So I got these little beads for fingers on the Robo Rebels, because I was sick of just making it up as we go along. I wanted to try to do actual fingers on them for the next one I do. Called the Whirligoose, by the way. They're a flying unit. Watch your space. Anyway, yeah, so I used them, and then I got some different size skulls and bones that I had from different sets, drilled holes in them, and threaded them onto wires, and stuck those across its chest. When it came to spraying them, I did it a little bit too thick, which actually helped me, because I scraped off some of the paint, made it look like it had actual skin stay to it, which you'll see in a bit. Sorry, I just needed to fill out a couple more seconds just so you could see what I was doing before I make the cut to the next part, which I think is the weapons. I can't remember. I've been delayed quite a bit on this video due to some connectivity problems. Actually, was wrong. Not hands. Doing the base. Adding some bits of cork, some stones. And I think I had some sand later on. I wanted to make sure he had an actual base. Most of the time I tend to forget about it till the end, but I thought, oh, I'd throw that in there somewhere. And yeah, here it is. Also, I cut little bits off the ends of the wrists just to make the hands look like they didn't come out as far as they were supposed to. Expose some of the tinfoil, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to be hidden in a bit anyway. So yeah, there you go. Base done. And we're on to the weapons now. First off, we're doing the wrists. So For the wrists, what I did was I bolted them out a little bit with some EVA foam. They just make the gauntlets look thicker and like heavier, you know, quite hefty, so they offer a bit more protection for punching and stuff. I only wanted to give him one hand because one was going to be have a shield, so it didn't have to be overly complicated on that side. So yeah, so one's like a stump, and then one's just a metallic claw hand thing, gripping a weapon. And speaking of weapons, so we started off with a candy floss stick that I trimmed down, made it a bit more circular towards a handle, and then just wrapped that in loads of why can't I remember the name of painter's tape now? I literally just said it like 2 minutes ago. Masking tape, that's the one. Layer and layer of thin strips of masking tape just to make the handle, and it turned into this club. And I was thinking, you know, I could give him a club, or I could give him a meaty axe. Originally, I was having a hard time getting the blade to stick to the bamboo, and decided that I was going to use wire just to hold it in place, and it ended up giving me this really cool effect because I had to drill holes in there, and I just went with it and I kept it like that. I was going to trim the wire off, but then I decided that it looks better with the wire, like a feature. And then finally I stuck some spiky bits on there because, you know, can't go wrong with some spiky pieces. So yeah, there you go, weapon done. Now it's time for the shield. The shield I made pretty simply. It was literally just little bits of plastic plates stuck together in a nice pattern, topped with a little skull, which I'm not sure if I recorded myself doing, but it's on there. You'll see it when I'm painting. And yeah, pretty much that's it. I put some beads on. I've decided I'm not going to show the beads anymore, not until I get some like xylophone money. Because yeah, something about putting beads onto the side of xylophones, I just really want that. So I'm going to wait till I've got enough money for a xylophone before I start doing it again. Also, it saves me a lot of time on filming as well. So it's so it's painting time, and painting time means it's time for me to tell you a story. This one's a POV of someone under attack by the Ironbloods. Okay, let's go. Woohoo! Journal entry of Elias Vaughan, settler of Outpost 73. Date: Cycle 43. Year: 219 after landing. If you're reading this, then I didn't make it. The Ironbloods came at dawn. Not in silence, not in stealth, no. They wanted us to hear them coming. Drums, metal, clanging against metal. Voices raised in war cries that shook the ground. By the time the lookout tower sent up the flare, they were already at the outer barricades. The conglomeration of allied colonies sent us a man last month, a thug named Salen Dross. Said he was here to ensure stability. That sour-faced scum took half our ammunition for himself and his crew. He called it a tax. Now, when we need those bullets, they're locked away in the Coac storage crates that Dross and his men carried underground the second the attack started. They aren't fighting, they're hiding, so it's just us. The settlers, farmers, traders, scavengers with nothing but rusted rifles and gut-shot courage. I saw Jessa, the blacksmith's daughter, put a bullet through an Ironblood's skull. Then not even a second later, I saw her father take a spear through the chest. The Ironbloods don't just raid, they break. They tore down the grain stores, laughing as the wind carried our winter rations into the dust. I watched one of them rip a man's arm off and use it to beat another settler to death. They chant as they kill, slamming their fists to metal-plated chests. I don't understand the words, but it's repeated over and over as they kill. We tried to hold the North Road, but they set fire to the water tower. How do you even set fire to a water tower? Now there's no way to douse the flames creeping through the settlement. We're burning, bleeding, breaking. One by one. I don't know if anyone will survive, but if someone finds this, tell the other outposts. The Ironbloods are coming, and in there is no mercy in them. So there you go. There's the story. I kept it pretty basic, just because I want to grow on it. So I thought like the idea of an attack on a now until then unnamed outpost, keeping it separate from the main stories, but also a part of the world, is a good idea. I'm gonna say about painting this thing, I just had fun with it. It ended up coming out looking like something from Thor Ragnarok, but at the same time, I just really liked what I've done with it. And let me know in the comments below if you liked it as well. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave comments, share the video if you want to share it. I want to apologise if I put Turnip 28 in the title and it's not just for clicks. It's because it was originally supposed to be Turnip 28 and it's sort of just morphed into this. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed the spinny bit. Oh, and I got to do blood spatter, so I haven't done that for a while. So yeah, enjoy the spinny bit, and I'll catch you next time.